Morning, guys. Welcome to another edition of Crash Course. Of course, as always, we ask that you go to our YouTube channel and follow us. And then you can also head on down to the bottom, click on the little star to like us, and then to follow what comes next. Today, I want to talk about long journeys or trips on the so-called long road where you travel between two towns. We just traveled to Pietermaritzburg again for a trial, and I found it quite interesting. The road was very quiet. But I also noticed that people tend to do a very interesting thing. When they go on trips, think about people like, reps, traveling salesmen, and even some families actually, or husbands and wives. Often people travel long distances under the assumption that nothing will go wrong as it didn't the last time. The problem with that is, of course, that before you know it, if you're involved in a collision or anything happens where you are unable to communicate, with other words, you're unconscious or seriously injured, most of our cell phones these days need to be locked. There was a time when they said, listen, put this thing called ICE in case of emergency and a number people must call. That will only work if they have access to your phone. Of course, on the modern Androids and phones, you can put a so-called lock screen. So what you can do is make up an actual image with the contact detail, the ICE details on it, and I'll post an example on our Twitter feed later of what people can see even if they do not unlock your phone. But for those people who can't or won't do that, think about the following as an option. When you're leaving or traveling anywhere, let somebody know. Update them regularly. Tell them when you reach the next town or whenever you stop for fuel, etc. That way, if anything happens and you have a collision or anything happens like a hijacking or whatever, people will know that you didn't reach your next destination. It's always a good idea to tell people what time you leave, what time you expect to be there, etc. Because even with pilots, that's often the only time that any problem is detected is after things have gone wrong. If you expect somebody to arrive at, say, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock or whatever, and an hour or two after that you haven't heard from them, you can call them and say, are you okay? They can say yes. But what if you don't call them and they are unable to call you? Now, as much as a day or two can go by and, hey, listen, we haven't heard from Stan in a while. Then you go back. So I think it's always a good idea to do one of two things. Either you can WhatsApp a friend or friends to tell them that you are leaving, that you're on the road, that you're arriving, etc., so that they know you are safe and you're traveling safely. Or these days with Google Maps, you can actually do a so-called live share, which means you can go onto the map, you can select an option to live share your location to one or more other friends. That way you can say, let your husband, wife, or family know that they can go on their Google Maps, open up the map and look at your location at any time. It's kind of a personal tracking system. That's probably one of the best ways to do this. So then if anything goes wrong, you at least know the last location that it went wrong on. So that's our crash course for today. Safe driving. Thank you very much and have a lovely day.